The book that I'll be talking about today is Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. This is the second time that I've tried to get through Gilead. The first time, I just don't think I was in the right headspace. I got about 30 pages in and just had to put it down. That first time, I just don't think I was patient enough to get through its style. And when I picked it up for the second time, I was already kind of anticipating what I was getting into. But in many ways, Gilead defies this kind of review that grants stars or a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And the reason for that is it challenges the traditional structure of a novel. If you think of epic novels like Crime and Punishment or Moby Dick or The Scarlet Letter, those really showcase a mastery of things like narrative arc or dialogue or drama or character development. And in contrast, Gilead is so special because it's stripped of many of those things. I'm not saying that they're poorly done, but they're simply just not the point of the work. And by stripping the work of those elements, it also removes this traditional sense of agency that a work can have. And without agency, there's not this sense of payoff that we get from, say, a thrilling climax of a book. But I do think that Gilead arrives at a much more fulfilling and enriched approach to creating a portrait of a setting and a narrator. So the novel is in an epistolary format. There are little nuggets of wisdoms and memories of John Ames, who's a dying pastor in the town of Gilead, Iowa. He's writing his set of letters for his young son, who in all likelihood is soon to be without a dad. So given the circumstance, the writing is kind of an ode to life, if not a love letter. The great kindness and providence of the Lord has given most of us someone to honor, the child his parent, the parent his child. I have great respect for the uprightness of your character and the goodness of your heart, and your mother could not love you more or take greater pride in you. She has watched every moment of your life, almost, and she loves you as God does, to the marrow of your bones. So that is the honoring of the child. You see how it is godlike to love the being of someone. Your existence is a delight to us. I hope you never have to long for a child as I did, but oh, what a splendid thing it has been that you came finally, and what a blessing to enjoy you now for almost 7 years. So his letters detail stories from his own life, descriptions of his relationships with his family and friends, his ideas about religious topics. He is a Congregationalist minister. And also just general words of wisdom about how to embrace the beauty of existence. Of course, these topics are so personal, which is the tone of the entire novel. It's a very intimate and inspired work. From the very first paragraph even, one gets the sense of an old soul whispering to all who will listen. I told you last night that I might be gone sometime, and you said, "Where?" And I said, "To be with the good Lord." And you said, "Why?" And I said, "Because I'm old." And you said, "I don't think you're old." And you put your hand in my hand and you said, "You aren't very old," as if that settled it. I told you you might have a very different life from mine, and from the life you've had with me, and that would be a wonderful thing. There are many ways to live a good life. And you said, "Mama already told me that." And then you said, "Don't laugh," because you thought I was laughing at you. You reached up and put your fingers on my lips and gave me that look I never in my life saw on any other face besides your mother's. It's a kind of furious pride, very passionate and stern. I'm always a little surprised to find my eyebrows unsinged after I've suffered one of those looks. I will miss them. It seems ridiculous to suppose the dead miss anything. If you're a grown man when you read this, it's my intention for this letter that you read it then, I'll have been gone a long time. I'll know most of what there is to know about being dead, but I'll probably keep it to myself. That seems to be the way of things. So you get the sense that It's almost like two characters who have woken up next to one another. Just very intimate and quiet moments that only require these two very special people. At the end of the day, it's such an optimistic work, and one that I think is very human. It's optimistic in the sense that it values life. It doesn't have this sense of hopelessness of postmodern literature. It's really the portrait of a man who has enjoyed his life and wants to express that joy for existence to his son. With that being said, Gilead is a portrait rather than a story. I don't think the reader, like I said, will find many elements such as climax or development, but rather a collection of somewhat related thoughts. I think in the rest of the arts, there are very unique works like this. In music, which is my background, I thought of some works of Debussy, maybe his opera. In film, this work kind of resembles Sofia Coppola's movies, just very quiet and intimate, and a lot of atmosphere and voice. So a movie like Lost in Translation basically just works that derive their atmosphere and tone from an insistence that beauty is found in an embrace of the mystery of life and of relationships. And like these works, just as like in Gilead, I think they're kind of acquired tastes, but ones that persist in the mind. I really think that Gilead is a book to be reread, and it's one that I'm really happy that I came back to after not being able to get through it the first time. It's a novel that requires repeated exposures to, and one that really requires slow reading, even though the prose is quite simple. Slow reading, but very deliberate and mindful reading. So that is my review and thoughts on Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. I would recommend this book, although beware that, like me, it may take more than one time to get through it.